Reading the Wall Street Journal, I guess it was over the weekend, or was it Monday? Doesn't matter. I caught in the editorial section a book review about a gentleman named Ferguson, who was part of the Scottish Enlightenment. And those of you that aren't familiar with the Scottish Enlightenment, I'll educate you a little bit. And those of you that are, I'm going to refresh your memory. It is a fascinating movement that is forgotten. The Scottish Enlightenment is the period in the 1700s, before the American Revolution, before the independence of America, where you had a coming together. And I want everybody to realize this, that there is a place in Scotland, I saw this on a documentary, where they had statues of these men. And I would dare say that it's probably one of the few collection of greatness, of great men at one time, that matches, maybe even superior than our founding fathers. Do you believe that at one given time, the following people lived at the same time in Scotland? Okay? John Locke. Do you know that John Locke is where Thomas Jefferson borrowed the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness from? Do you know that? The Scottish Enlightenment was a time period where they recognized that it was time for man to change the course and regain those natural rights from monarchy. John Locke. How about this? Wealth of Nations. Have you ever heard of that? The Wealth of Nations? Adam Smith? Well, guess what? Adam Smith wrote The Wealth of Nations, which is the Bible of capitalism, from Scotland during the same time period. You also had a guy by the name of Humes and a guy by the name of Hobbes that were like Locke, that wrote these wonderful treatises about man and natural rights of man. Also Ferguson was there. But the Scottish Enlightenment helped lead to the American Revolution as much as anything else. Our founding fathers read these guys, studied them, believed them. Now you might be sitting there saying, well, what relevance this got to do, Bulldog, in 2013? Well, I'm also watching this documentary about the Monarchs of England. Fascinating stuff. You can't make up the stories of the Monarchs of England. And last night, I had my memory refreshed about John. John from the Robin Hood story. Okay? Well, whether Robin Hood was true or not doesn't make any difference. There's one thing that we know is true. And I think the year was 1214. It was 1200s. Where the nobles of England said, you know, King John, we're going to meet you in this field, Runnymede, and you're going to sign this document. You know what that document was? It's called the Magna Carta. And it laid out the rights of man and the rights of the king and the duties of the king. And it was probably the first putting down on paper this contract between government and its leaders and the people. So I think it was Monday that I saw the Wall Street Journal article. And then last night I see the article about, or I watched the documentary about Runnymede. And I said, my God, because this is Wednesday, I said, what in the hell is going on in the United States of America when we are founded upon, our foundation is built upon the Scottish Enlightenment, the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Independence, and we have veered so far off course of the principles of less government. Less government. Why? Because it works. And it occurred to me, as I'm studying this and watching this, the nobles. It goes all the way back to the Roman Senate. Our Senate, our United States Senate, was based upon the Roman Senate. And you know what the senators are supposed to be? The senators are supposed to be the wise men of the nation. The wise men. Okay? Wouldn't it be freaking nice if the senators of the United States of America would go over to the White House and knock on his door and say, Mr. President, we demand that you meet us under the Washington Monument. We want to talk to you. And the president comes over and surely he would go, wouldn't he? If the senators, Democrats and Republicans, all 100 of them knocked on the door, we could let Harry do the knocking. I don't really care who knocks. You know, Rand Paul would have to be in the front or else he wouldn't see. I love you, Rand. Bottom line is that can you imagine if they did that? And they said, Mr. President, these budget deficits are got to stop. The spending's got to stop. Consider this our Runnymede.